The most recent trailers for the Gen 9 Pokemon games introduced us to a lot of new mysteries like the Path of Legends and its titans, but it also introduced us to 3 new Pokemon that instantly won the Pokemon fandom. Hey, I'm Not So Ace Trainer, and what about Klawf, Ceruledge and Armarouge? Let's get into it. As always, we're going to take a look at these Pokemon and I'll give my take on what are probably their origins or inspirations from the real, boring world, and we'll start with everyone's new favorite, Klawf. Klawf is known as the Ambush Pokemon, and it is a new rock type with the ability Shell Armor and the new ability Anger Shell, which lowers your defensive stats and boosts your offensive and speed stats while you're below 50% HP. According to the information on the official website, sometimes Klawf loses a claw when battling, but it grows back again, and in certain areas of Paldea, its claws are a valuable cooking ingredient, which is a reference to the Iberian Peninsula's love for seafood. Seriously, we absolutely love it. As for its name, Klawf seems to be a mix of claw, because of its claws, and cliff, because it latches onto cliffs so often that its titan is known as a Stony Cliff Titan. This Pokemon seems to be inspired on various different species of crabs that have bristles on their bodies, but especially the horsehair crab that has a similar orange color to it. Its description being the ambush Pokemon might also mean some inspiration comes from the Chinese mitten crab, that also has some hairy growths on their claws that resemble mittens and are an invasive species in the EU. Its mouth resembles a battlement, which is something very common in both Portugal and Spain due to the still heavy presence of medieval architecture, and might be a reference at the Pokemon being defensive until it triggers Anger Shell. Now let's move on to Armarouge. Armarouge is described as the Fire Warrior Pokemon, and it is a Fire and Psychic type Pokemon with the ability Flash Fire. It is exclusive to Pokémon Scarlet. Its psychic powers are said to come from its armor, which belong to a distinguished warrior, and it has a signature Fire type move called Armor Cannon, that deals huge damage but lowers the user's defense and special defense. Its name seems to be a combination of Armadura, which means armor in Portuguese and Spanish, and Rouge, which means red in French. The inspiration for this design seems to be that of a Middle Ages knight, when pauldrons, just like the ones it uses to form armor cannon, were a common sight. The website tells us that Armarouge lives by the principle of a fair fight, meaning that it follows the code of chivalry, something that was also a common principle in the late Middle Ages. The yellow and red on its design also resemble the colors of the Spanish flag, just as the red plume-like flame on top of its helmet resembled those seen in various European armor suits of old, like the Roman and the Greek armor. And finally, we have Ceruledge. Ceruledge is described as the Fire Blade Pokemon, and it is a Fire and Ghost type Pokemon with the ability Flash Fire. This one, though, is exclusive to Pokemon Violet. Its armor is steeped in grudges, and its blades are made of fire and ghost energy, leaving wounds from which life energy will flow. It has a signature physical move called Bitter Blade, where it uses the lingering regrets of the fallen to unleash a powerful slashing attack, dealing damage and restoring its HP by half of how much it dealt. Its name is a combination of cerulean, a deep shade of blue, and edge, like the edge of a blade. Just like Armarouge, Ceruledge seems to be based around the knight from the Middle Ages, but unlike its counterpart, it is based around those who lost. It does not follow the chivalry code, instead opting for sneak or surprise attacks to best its opponents. Just like Armarouge, it sports a feather-like flame but of a different color, which used to mean a different military affiliation, probably hinting at some rivalry between these two counterparts. And that is why we cannot talk about one without talking about the other. They are both exclusives and share a lot of similarities as well as complementing differences. Armarouge has a long-range move and follows the chivalry code, as well as having a lot of upper body armor, while Ceruledge prefers having close-range battles, opting for swords instead of cannons, doesn't follow any type of code and has the bottom part of its body well covered, leaving the upper part more in the open. Their signature moves also show a lot of their different personalities, with Armor Cannon dealing a lot of damage but sacrificing its own stats, while Bitter Blade deals damage and steals the target's HP. I wouldn't be surprised to see these two Pokemon connected somehow, either by a pre-evolution or some type of storyline. And that is all I have for you today about Ceruledge, Armarouge and Klawf. Is there something I missed? Let me know in the comments down below. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content, and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. You can follow me on social media and Twitch, I stream there Wednesday to Sunday, not Saturday, or join our Discord, all the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.